Good evening to all of you. I'm audible to all of you? No? Sound thoda. Oh. Is it audible now? Still not? I can hear myself. Okay. Mic. Fan तो रुको गर्मी okay, we'll rectify it in the following class. I hope all of you are able to hear me now. Okay, it's fine. Okay, so good evening to all of you. So I welcome all of you to this batch of public administration. Today we'll be having a very small introductory session followed by an orientation session tomorrow. So that means we'll not be starting our academic class today onwards. We'll be moreover interacting with each other. So I am Mahendra Kumar Mohanty. I'll be teaching you along with Asutosh Pandey, Asutosh sir. So both of us will try to help you people to, I can't say master this optional paper because I myself is struggling till today to master this subject. No subject can ever be mastered by anyone. Mastery in the sense that you will be able to have adequate knowledge and competence to score in your exam. That way, if you refer it as mastery, then I think we can help you to master that. But mastery to the extent that you are able to understand and comprehend every aspect of this subject. That way, I would say that I am right that till today I am still struggling to master this optional paper. I can't say about this young boy because he reads a lot, much more than me. Okay, so in the very beginning, let me actually share one thing. In the due course of the preparation for this paper and also for your general studies and every other paper, I would say don't make this preparation, don't make your preparation stressful. Right in the beginning, I would advise as a teacher to all of you, I hope all of you take it in the right sense. Don't make your preparation stressful because more and more you make your preparation easy and enjoyable. Believe me, you will get, I would say you would get better marks because the endeavor you are taking in this particular context is primarily focused on getting marks. More you enjoy the process, more you will get marks. More stressful you will make your efforts, maybe same way the marks will become more and more stressful. One thing that I have learned while being a student, while I was preparing, and also in the last 1.5 decade of my teaching, I have learned that when you study the option, anything, including my subject, when you study the subject by understanding it, by relating to it, it becomes immensely enjoyable, and at the same time your delivery in writing your answers, getting marks becomes much more easier and you become happy. So why I'm saying this, because most of the time, almost all of us, since we are taking up this exam as our almost I'm saying, because for most of us it's something like a final aim. No, we had 10th exam, 12th exam. When 10th was there, board exam. This is a big one. 12th is a big one. Then maybe your degree, or maybe you have done your post-graduation, or if you have done your engineering or medical, whatever that might be. Okay, each time you have a milestone, but that milestone is somewhat, either it's a penultimate or is something. It's not the final aim. Okay, this is a big one. I have to go through it, but there is another waiting. But this exam for almost all of us is something like, okay, this is the final aim I have to crack. Maybe after that, maybe I don't have to read anything, I don't have to do anything. Everything is okay, my career is set. No pain now on to me once I crack this, because after that, rest is the headache of the Government of India and citizen of India. So because of the fact that we take this exam as the final destination, we put everything into it. We tend to unlock all the possible potential that we have to crack this exam, get through this exam, go ahead of our dear friends, and find ourselves in the list that is there. That is why we become very serious, and in the course of our seriousness, we make our preparation also maybe clumsy, very cloudy, very confusing. We tend to actually acquire a lot of facts, because the very the underlying basis of our preparation remains that I don't have to leave any single stone unturned. And in that process, you tend to actually read a lot, maybe do a hell lot of things without putting your brain properly into it. I have been a witness of many students going about the preparation with all sincerity, but at the end of the day, maybe becoming disappointed because they have made their preparation a very, very serious process. It is a serious process, but maybe I used a wrong word here. They end up doing, or they end up making their preparation immensely stressful. It's a serious one. You're into a serious business. Nevertheless, you're into a serious business. You can't take this casually. You have to be very serious. You have to be very disciplined. You cannot compromise on that. But while you are serious, you are disciplined, you cannot afford to go under stress. Right from the day one, you start acquiring your part of the stress, and as the exam approaches, you start accumulating more and more stress, and when the exam is very near, you are immensely stressful. Right from the day one, just try and find ways. It might be at this stage, maybe it's a very general advice, maybe concrete formula I may not actually lay down how to get about that, but only a simple statement that you might actually understand when you have prepared, when you are appearing for the exam, or you are seeing the entire process maybe as a hindsight. Then you might actually understand the meaning of this statement fully. But I would urge that you start actually understanding this right from the beginning, because this is very important. You find ways to make your preparation not only meaningful, but also less and less stressful. The first thing I would say, whatever you study by understanding it. Simply don't go about anything and everything blindly. Understand it, decide in advance what to study and what not to study. That's a very important thing. What to choose and what not to choose, it's a very important thing. Go about it. The first thing that I will advise all of you, all of you young boys and girls, that enjoy this process. Maybe I would say that enjoy the pain that is waiting for you all in the process of preparation for the civil service. This is a very important thing that I will share with all of you, that more you enjoy your preparation, better you are going to be in a position to clear this exam. Because everything will become simple moment you start enjoying, and the vice versa is also true. Moment you prepare it with simplicity, you will enjoy it better. So you find your ways. Maybe we will only be guides. Something like if a human being, maybe if you don't, you simply don't know how to sprint. We are here only to help you maybe stand up, walk faster, run, and guide you how to run faster. But it is you who have to actually run faster. So the actual work all of you are going to do, find your ways, your own ways. How are you going to make your exam, the process of your preparation, more and more meaningful and more enjoyable, so that you have a sweet memory to carry for the rest of your life. Of course, the sweetest part will be the success, the name on the list. But that sweet you are going to actually finally test, provided you make the process, you sweeten your process of preparation. The second thing, the another aspect I will come to. See, many questions we generally get from the students in the very beginning. One of the very usual question that we are bombarded is, I don't have a background in public administration. Somewhat, few things let me anticipate and say on my own, because we do get these questions very often. I don't have a background in public administration, and whether I will be comfortable with the optional paper, whether I will be able to grasp it well or not. Now let me ask you people, how many of you have background in political science or public administration in your graduation or post-graduation? Acha, few of you. Okay. And how many of you are engineers? Okay. Okay, not that means barring this few, rest all do not have any background in this particular political science or public administration, the twin subjects that are very overlapping and related. How many of you belong to the humanities background? How many of you belong to non-humanities background? Rest all. Okay, let me share a statistics. This is not actually very accurate, the statistic that I'm going to share. This is a very generalized statistics, because see, from 2007 till 2014, that was the period when we used to teach a huge number of students. Reason being, this optional paper was huge in size. The number of people appearing for this optional paper used to be not only the footfall for this optional paper used to be huge, because we need to share few things so that each and everything that might be there in your mind should get clarified, and before you start, you should start with all the zeal and confidence. Even if, because now the appearance for the civil service has dramatically increased. In last couple of years, it has grown, maybe not in arithmetic, it has grown in permutation and combination, the number of people appearing for the civil service. Then the number of appearance was not even 1/4 of what is now. That is the period I'm talking about. Even then, we used to teach in a single session around 2,500 and not being able to accommodate a large number. In the year, in a single year, we used to teach around 4,500 to 5,000 students only in public administration. That used to be the size of this optional paper. And 2013, I still remember 2012, the result for the 2012 batch. The final selection into the civil service, out of 956, what I could remember, the people with public administration had 437. That was brutal. And I still remember because we were very bad in record keeping. Still, what we could actually gather immediately was 332 students whom we directly taught. That was, and these results we don't claim with us. With us, we never claimed any result out of our interview batch or test series batch or something like that. We always claim our result only on the basis of regular class students. This 4 or 5 months that we teach our students, the result that we are claiming, that actually belongs to that regular classes. Because nowadays, the advertisement for results are immensely misleading. We are not claiming any results out of somebody has filled a form or let's say distance material, somebody has buyed a material or something. I'm talking about the students who joined for the regular classroom program, went through the 4 to 5 months of classroom program. I'm talking about that. And when I used to ask in every batch of roughly around 2,500 students, across the batches of the day, I used to ask the first question, how many of you have background in political science or public administration? Out of that, I used to get maybe 20 or 25. Not more than that. I'm not exaggerating. This number that I got today, it's comparatively, in terms of proportion, is more because I saw something around maybe 7-8 hands. This is proportion-wise larger as compared to that. So what I'm intending to say is that this optional paper for a very long period of time has been not only a preferred optional paper, this has been one of the most performing optional paper. And the duration I'm talking, it used to be the optional paper, because of which maybe UPSC became very angry at public administration. That was precise because it decimated all other optional paper. Public administration on one side, rest all on another side. And when it became single optional paper, had it not been an effort by UPSC, public administration would have become unofficially the compulsory paper. But that used to be the size and aura of this optional paper. 2013, 2014 and 2015 were nightmares for us. Because I would say with all confidence and with all responsibility, without actually hiding anything, and that yes, our preparation was not bad. Students were not bad because huge number of students used to appear then. But during these 3 years, the UPSC managed to create a monster out of this optional paper, because had it not created this monster, public administration itself would have been a monster, decimating all other optional papers. That was the questions were maybe outlandish. More than that, the marks were not favorable. But I'm happy to say that very scare that actually mellowed down. Maybe the UPSC relented on this optional paper moment the appearance from this subject went down drastically. So from 2016 onwards, I could see the nature of the question is very simple. And if I have to recount 2018, 2019, even 2020, for the first time, I witnessed that because UPSC is not in the habit of repeating its own questions. I've never seen, right from when I was appearing for my exam, maybe in state exam we used to notice some questions are being repeated. But in UPSC, never ever a single question used to be repeated. But in this year I found that questions are being repeated, and many of these questions are repeated verbatim. In verbatim means the same line, same comma, everything, almost like they have not noticed the previous year question and set a paper, and there are so many repeated questions. And if you take into account the thematically 2020 question paper, I would say if somebody has read only the last 15-year questions and not studied the syllabus, almost 80% question easily a fellow will attain. That was thematically the overlapping of the questions with the previous year questions. So from 2016 onwards, questions are simple, marks are really good. They have become comparatively liberal with their marks. So I would say that now possibly this optional is again one of the safest, because talking about the nature of this optional, I will say this is an optional par excellence. That I will talk. Asutosh sir will also talk about that. As an optional paper, if you take away every other aspect, this is an optional paper unparalleled. It is an optional paper par excellence. As compared to every other optional paper, I have many reasons to state this. I will also I will back up my view. Why I'm saying as an optional paper, it is an optional paper par excellence. But at the same time, since we are preparing for this to gain marks and get through the exam, I believe maybe now it is the right time, because no more that very menacing focus is there on public administration. Because as I could notice, maybe one, I don't know, the way at times the marks are shared with different optional papers. Those 3 years I could sense things were not good, the way things were handled. But in the last couple of years, questions are simple. Very straight questions. Questions are being repeated, and marks are good. If marks are being given in optional paper in the range of 300 or 300 plus, same is with public administration. If some marks are given in the range of, let's say, 250 plus or 260 plus or 270 plus, same with also in public administration. But since the number of appearance has gone down in public administration as compared to before, we can read it both ways. One, we can say, okay, now when number of appearance is less, maybe that way the bulk of results comparatively also has gone down that way. But if you talk about percentage of result, success, among the popular subjects, if you refer to the Union Public Service annual gadget, it publishes annually its official gadget, citing all these things. If you go through that, you'll find among the popular optional, not non-popular, because in non-popular the percentage will be very high, because appearance being very numerically very less, so the percentage will be very high. So if you go through this you go through this official publication of UPSC itself and take a stock of the result and compare the popular optionals, public administration is leading in that. It was, last I could remember, this year's gazette is not there, but last I could remember, of all the popular optional that you can name as of today, public administration in terms of percentage of success, it was higher than all of those. So the number of success is higher. That is a public document that you can access on your own. So that's why the 2-3 points I will make here. One, even if you do not have a background, nothing to worry for a very long period of time. This is the optional paper. People are opting. They're doing it fine, even if they belong to engineering or medicine or commerce or, let's say, science or applied science. So whatever background they have, whether other humanities other than public administration, they are doing wonderfully well. They were getting good marks. They are able to master it master it in the sense, I would repeat, master it in the sense garnering marks, getting marks. So they are doing it very nicely. They are able to get good marks in a very small span of time of, let's say, 3 or 3.5 months or 4 months of preparation. And after that, okay, it will require revision and all these things. So first thing, all of you need to have confidence that background is not going to deter you from handling this optional paper well. So irrespective of your background, academic background, you can handle it pretty well, since for very long, people who are actually opting for this, they do not have the background. Very little number of people, not even little, non-existent category in this optional paper are those students having a background, academic background. Maybe because in universities, most of the universities, we do not have a separate degree in public administration. Delhi, not a single. Delhi University, I am a student of Delhi University. By certificate, I am a student of political science. I did my post-graduation from Hindu College, Delhi University, then my MPhil from Department of Political Science, Delhi University. I would say I was enrolled for the PhD. I did not complete it, not that I flunked, but once I did not get through this exam and started teaching, then I did discontinue. I regret, at least I would have got a doctorate. Having a doctor before your name gives a good impression that somebody is at least learned. I should have completed, because almost at the verge of my completion of PhD, I was the topper of my university. I was a senior research fellow of the Delhi University Department of Political Science. But all my specialized papers were in public administration. Effectively, I am a student of public administration, but by degree, by certificate, I am a student of political science. In JNU, there is no separate degree being offered on public administration. So the universities, they do not offer a separate degree. Very little number of universities this offer. Most of the universities, they offer it as a specialized course attached with public administration. But anyway, so you need not worry about the background. And the second aspect is, you need not worry about your marks. Possibly, I would say this is the right time, without being afraid of anything, because there's not going to be any type of backlash, any deliberate backlash against public administration, but the number of appearance has gone down. So there is not going to be any type of design as such. If we are not scoring, I believe it will be our fault and your fault, if we are not scoring. But those 3 years, I will say, it was nevertheless not the fault of the students, or maybe we took a lot of effort then to prepare much better in the backdrop of the type of things were there, but the scores were low. I would say there was an external hand that was beyond our control during those 3 years. And these are a few things I wanted to share to begin with. And rest of the things maybe we'll get to know, or you will get to know through the interaction that we are going to have. You'll be asking questions, we'll be addressing. But before that, let Ashutosh sir share few things. Then you can ask your questions, we'll address. So today, as I said, we'll be having a simple introductory session. No academically oriented classes, so you can remain somewhat relaxed. And before Ashutosh sir speak, I would request all of you from tomorrow onwards not to sit on those seats that is marked as cross, because there are few things that we have been instructed to follow, and we'd rather follow that we have been instructed to follow. So we are coerced to follow that, because government is a caring organization as well as a coercive organization, and this is what we are going to study.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible. I'm asking them. Okay. So, obviously, as sir said, that today we are not going to have any. That's a problem. An academic discussion. right? But I see many of you have brought your notebooks also, right? So we can write something. Huh? That would be an advantage of probably studying public administration. I'm coming to the point. Let us take an analogy. You understand what is an analogy? It's like an example, illustration. Samosa, all of you know? Samosa? A patty, maybe, right? Indian patty. Samosa and chutney. Chutney, sauce, right? No, you try to understand. Now, you want to eat samosa, but you don't get chutney at the shop. What will be your reaction? You'll demand for it, no? Probably he says that it is over and I don't have it. Will you eat samosa or not? Many of you may not eat it. Now see, samosa is the consequence, right, of the hunger. You want to eat it, right? Chutney is only incidental. It may or may not be there. So like sir said, seriousness is the chutney, right? But enjoying the process is the samosa. So we say don't be serious, be sincere. Sincerity and seriousness are two different things, right? People look serious but they may not be sincere. We may not look serious but we are sincere, right? Fine. So first thing first, obviously we are talking about, let's say, a subject. Obviously I'll be taking mostly paper 2 and certain areas of paper 1 also. Now I'm not getting into that point. I'm simply just trying to re-emphasize the fact that public administration is not something new that we are studying, or maybe you will be studying. Like sir said, we don't have a background, right? But it runs in our DNA. You understand that? It's part of our blood vessel. How can we say that? You were born in a hospital. How did people come to know that you were born? Your father started distributing mithai to everyone. You got a certificate, right? Are you getting? The moment your mother or anybody is pregnant, they go to the hospital. The hospital gives medication, okay, creates a report of that. What is that? That is government. So it is not something new. It has been in existence since the time of human civilization. So what we are going to study is not just that subject, that syllabus. It is what you do every day, what you see every day. If you don't have electricity, whom do you blame? Huh? Why do you blame government? There are discoms now. It is privatized. Your flight gets delayed, you start blaming the government. Why do you blame government? You have to understand the government is not directly responsible for it. But why? You have a sense of comfort, right? You feel good blaming the government. Yeah, you feel good. At least that is an admission of guilt that we have not selected a good government. Right? So you want to shift that blame to the government. So logically, how we have been trained? Since time immemorial, we have been trained this way that we have to criticize the state. So the relationship of citizen with the government has never been positive. In fact, it should not be positive, right? In fact, it should be positive but not conformist. So you see, right from the beginning, now in Nicholas Henry's, there is a book. Okay, there is a statement that says bureaucracy is in our bones. So right from the beginning of civilization, when you talk about administration, obviously administration is something that has kept us together as a civilization. Right? You go back to the Kautilyan times, Mauryan times, we'll study Kautilya Arthashastra, right? Somewhere 326 BC, right? And comparatively you go to the Europe or the western parts, right? The Greek and the Egyptian civilizations. Reconnect. Okay, somebody else. Okay. So Greek and Egyptian civilizations were probably one of the first ones to talk about an organized administration. Later on, Roman Empire, especially the western part, right? they became very powerful, organized administrative systems. And in Roman Empire, there was a very famous person, Cicero. Have you heard his name? Right? He was a council member, a spokesperson, a moralist, idealist, many things. Right? He has said, more laws, less justice. A very famous statement. So whenever we talk about system of government or administration, we generally look at what? Certain procedures, rules, regulations that restrict the citizen. That is the general idea of what government is or it should be, right? But when we are going to study the subject, you will understand that this idea has totally transformed now. Not just after the aftermath of globalization, but just the advent of education. Globalization is a very late force. Just by merely the impact of education, the relationship of the people and the government has changed. 1789, the French Revolution laid the foundation of certain basic humanitarian principles of governing. Fairness, justice, equity, which was later on copied by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948. Okay, which was obviously copied by India also in the form of its preamble. And likewise. So whenever you are studying any subject, like sir said, don't be very specifically technical to that syllabus. Syllabus is only indicative. If you see paper 1, like sir will tell you in the class, okay, 70% of the questions come from 3 units. Right? But those 3 units are fundamental to understanding all the later 23 units. So if you have understood them conceptually very well, okay, probably in paper 1 you can solve more than 180 marks question. Right? Maybe 70 marks would come from random topics, some simpler topics. Right? Same in the paper 2, like people have contested the idea that second ARC is not relevant. It is 10, 15 years old. Right? How old is our democracy? People started contesting, 15 saal purana hai. Facts purane hai. Facts may be old, it's okay. You can always put new facts. But when you say, what are the problems of civil services in India? Where do you go? You go back to the British times. Why do you go back? Then you should talk about immediate 2 years, 3 years back, or go back and just talk about problems starting from 2014 onwards. Right? All the problems according to Rahul Gandhi started from 2014. And according to BJP, it was there from 1947 to 2014. So obviously, what is the timeline? That we cannot define. So when we talk about second ARC, it has a very important value of giving you the dimension of a problem, of various issues. Right? So if you know the dimensions, okay, you can fit in the latest data. But if you don't know the dimensions, you cannot even understand the question. Okay, let's say for example, we hear the term governance. Right? How we define that word governance? Everybody is using the word governance. मैं polity और governance पढ़ रहा हूँ. I'm reading polity and governance, right? Most of you start your GS preparation from polity, governance, and constitution. But many of you will not make an effort in understanding why these 3 terms are used. And then social justice is also used. International relations is also there. But let us stick to these 4 words: polity, constitution, governance, and social justice. Why they have used 4 different terms? When all it means is government-citizen relationship, nothing else. Governments within itself and government without, that is external to government. That is the study. Why we have classified it? Obviously because the UPSC probably wants you to understand the dimensions of a topic. That if you are studying Agnipath Yojana, right? Agnipath, huh? तो अमिताभ बच्चन काफी खुश हुआ होगा, right? So this yojana, now people are contesting this yojana. Many of people are criticizing it, right? Election year is coming, obviously you know. It may have its own implications, right? But if we think from the perspective of the government, right? Government needs to communicate with the people in a positive tone because it needs votes, right? Citizens obviously need to communicate with the government, because citizens want their demands to be fulfilled. Right. Now when this two-way communication takes place and both have a platform where they can share these ideas, okay, that is governance. where only one is imposing its rules and saying, if you don't do it, I'll fine you, I'll punish you. That is government. Government is more one way, it is more monologue. Okay. Governance is more binary, dialogue, or multilateral relationship. So even you have a role, you have a say, you are a civil society today. People recognize, or scholars recognize that there is civil society. Are you a civil society? You are civilized. That can be accepted, right? And you are a society. Why? Are you a society here? You are members of society or you are a society? You may be a community, but not necessarily a society right now. Fine. So logically, when we'll study the subject, right, I would like you to explore various dimensions. Don't get stick to only the technicalities of the subject, right? Marks will definitely increase. The only problem is PubEd is more applied. It's more practical in nature, right? We look for case studies which somebody else is giving, right? And everybody looks for the same case studies. How will your case study be different from the other person? You are trying to interpret one theory from particular perspective only, that okay, this person has given the notes, let me just read it, mug it up and write it, right? But every theory is what? Theory is an idea. It has multiple dimensions. When you read more and more, revise more and more, automatically your ideas will develop. Right? Bureaucracy word you might have studied, at least heard about it. Fine. Now, there is a very famous quote by a person, McCarthy, right? He says that we as citizens are saved from the bureaucracy only because of its inefficiency. Now, who needs the bureaucracy? Nobody. You don't want it? Do you want a DCP coming to your house every morning and saying, "Ki bhai school gaye, coaching gaye ki nahi gaye?" Do you want him to come every day and tell you that did you go for the coaching? No. What did you write? Kya notes likha? Nahi likha? Right? You want such kind of government? You don't want. Right? It can happen in two ways. One, the government becomes too moralist to think of itself as the guardian of the society. When government starts thinking this way, the bureaucracy becomes very powerful because government uses a system, that is administration. The other aspect is the government doesn't care about what citizens want. That is apathy. So see, morality and apathy both are bad. For whom? Citizens. Right. So whenever you're reading anything, you just try to put that into today's perspective. You're reading newspaper. Okay, you talk about Pragati. Pragati, have you heard of Pragati? Not Bagalwali Pragati. No. Right. Pragati as the scheme, initiative of. It's an e-governance initiative. Proactive governance and timely implementation of schemes. Right. Now Pragati says that Prime Minister, secretaries at the central government level and the secretaries of the states or cabinet chief secretary of the state will have a communication and interaction over monitoring and implementation of schemes. What schemes? Something known as centrally sponsored schemes. Right? Now this mechanism definitely will help in monitoring the scheme. Right? But will it help in implementation of scheme? No. Why? Because implementation requires local level participation. Poverty elevation कहाँ पे होगा? Village level पे. प्रधानमंत्री ग्रामीण आवास योजना, where will it be implemented? Village level. Now see, so this scheme is good. You will read it, you will talk about the characteristics of the scheme, and then ultimately say बहुत अच्छा scheme है, लिख दिया conclusion, right? But you did not interpret it, you did not analyze it. The scheme neglects the local participation. So as a public administration student, obviously as a bureaucrat, you need to have a critical perspective. What is critical perspective? Try to see both the faces of the coin. Balance your answer. Like sir said, simplicity is the key. If you can fit into the complicated theories, simple examples that you see or read in your newspaper, right? Your theory becomes more meaningful. So we'll try to do that justice, right? And obviously right now I don't want to get into technicality because I'm in the habit of doing that, right? So I would like to evade further interaction. Now, sir will, kuch doubts? Achha, we'll take up the questions they have. No. Thank you. Content, workbook,
Okay. Huh? No, you stay. So now, so many things you people might be wanting to know. So rather, instead of being monologic, as he told, instead of only being a government, let's rely on governance. So very nicely he has put, because many a time we fail to understand the simple terms. Because you have in your syllabus constitution, government, polity, governance. So we study the entire syllabus without actually understanding why it is named as so. The constitution is a document, how to handle the business of people. We are in a certain type of business of taking care of ourselves, our food, our health, our education, our sports, everything. So how that is to be handled collectively in a very civilized way, that is what is broadly maintained through a document called Constitution. And in that we have created certain institutions, as Asutosh referred, an institution which will be all powerful, representing to us, that we refer to as government. And whatever this institution is, its relation is with whom? People. So that interaction between that institution, that machinery with the people, is the polity. And the mechanism through which that interaction is undertaken is governance. So as he rightly referred, instead of only being a government, let's rely on governance. So it should be a two-way process. It should be a multi-directional process. So each one of you, whatever ideas, because as I told, today is only an introductory session. Tomorrow we'll have some an orientation, few things relating to your subject, and from the next class onwards we'll become sincere. So anything that you want to ask, anything that primarily they're raising, it's buffering or something like that. Acha, will we get daily assignment to do for homework? Okay, see, I would say one of our friend from online, he or she, Manish has asked that will you people be getting on a regular basis, on a daily basis, any homework? I would say yes as well as no. Let me explain no first. Okay, homework सुन के उनके हाथ से ही गिर रहा है. Anyway, let me explain first why I'm saying no. See, if you go by the typical idea of sharing an assignment as we have in the school, but okay, this is the class for today, and back at home work out these questions and come back. Maybe no. Every day you may not be getting this assignments that you have to work out back at home. Why I'm saying yes? Yes, in the sense because daily when the class starts, you will realize that the bombardments from our side is going to be substantial. So one homework without failing that you should be doing daily is revision of what you have studied in the class. And in the due course, yes, we'll be giving you questions that you have to write, and a workbook with plenty of questions, I would say exclusively prepared. I have no contribution in that. He is the man who has prepared everything with regard to that. Very nicely he has prepared a lot of questions relating to different topics and all these things. So we'll be sharing those workbooks with you people. So you have to keep working those questions apart from your previous year questions from the UPSC questions that you should be going through and working. Apart from that, a workbook he has worked out that you would be doing. And in that workbook also another thing he has very nicely designed, and I would say very seriously as well as sincerely he has done that. That is many current related things. Because as he told, we are an optional paper where few applications will be very appreciated. Because a lot of events taking place, whatever we are going to study, nothing is going to appear foreign to us. Why? Because as he has rightly said, administration is something that is already there in our bone, flesh and blood. Because in every way we hear about school, police, buses on the road, or whenever you study newspaper, almost criticizing government, praising government, bureaucracy, administration. These are certain terms and themes that is not foreign to us. So that is why we would require certain application, because whether in paper 1 or paper 2, it is very much appreciated if you communicate to the examiner that I have understood, I have not mugged. Why application is important? Because the examiner need to be convinced that I have understood this particular thing. Let me support this with certain things. See, recently in 2013 we had a very paradigmatic change in terms of pattern of your exam. Previously we used to have 2 optional papers and general studies and 1 essay you have to write. Then it was changed to your general studies being increased in size, 4 papers. Then it was 2, and now only 1 optional paper and 2 essays you have to write, apart from 2 compulsory papers, English, another mother Indian language, your own, whatever language you choose from the officially recognized languages. See, it was based on the backdrop of certain recommendations, because not only the second Administrative Reform Commission, there were few very important things shared by this commission. Prior to that, repeatedly, couple of committees and commissions have already shared their displeasure. Let me remind, their displeasure with the Union Public Service Commission and its examination, and the type of students being selected for this service. They have typically noted that we are getting candidates who are the product of rote method, simply mugging and coming. They do not have brain over their shoulder. They do not have a mind over their shoulder. The meaning of this statement in the committee's report was that we need civil servants who have the ability to think, understand and solve the problems. We do not want civil servants who are only academic, let's say gathered something through rote method, means they have mugged up certain things, or only academically oriented. Because see, every exam you are getting, because you are going to be selected for civil service, and UPSC is conducting one part of your selection process, procurement process. UPSC as an agency of the Government of India assigned Ministry of Personnel, I want these people into my organization for carrying out certain job. So Ministry of Personnel has contracted out its job to certain organization. One of these organization is UPSC. Because to procure this manpower, they need to have a good mind, they need to have a good character, they need to have a sound body. So they need to have some knowledge, they need to have character, they need to have physically fit, and without any criminal background. So maybe that's why one part of the job UPSC is to do is to find out whether you are knowledgeable or not. That means the required aptitude and attitude do you carry for this job. That is the job of the UPSC to find out. The police will find out whether there is any criminal record, where you are a good fellow or not. Only once in life people wait for police to come to the door. Once the UPSC certifies that mentally this fellow is fit, then you eagerly wait, police kab aayegi, so that it submits a good character certificate. and the medical board certifies you are physically fit, capable of carrying out this job. After getting all the certification from these 3 different agencies, Ministry of Personnel procures you. Then asks, lag jao. So it actually shared, this committee shared that whatever candidates UPSC is actually sending to them, they're not worthy of civil servants. Based on that, this was changed. So you need to understand, that's what I'm saying, your preparation should be based on your understanding. Previously, when we were appearing, whether in general studies or in optional paper, you used to, good student, I'm talking about student who used to study and go to exam to write the exam for clearing the exam. I still remember, when we used to write, I would say I was a good student because I was the topper of the university. Twice I appeared for the interview. For the reasons that I don't know, I was not chosen by the UPSC. I got good marks in my optional paper. Once I got miserable mark in my general studies, and the next time, for unexplained reason, I got miserable, deplorable marks in my essay paper. Only 59. Till now, I believe that then it was manual entry. So I have been given 159, they wrote 59. So that was a solace to me. Anyway, when we were writing our exam, we used to finish our paper in 2.5 hours. 30 minutes used to go for revision. Any of you have spoken to any of your seniors in recent period? Okay. Have you heard of any one student who is a serious fellow who is writing all the answers? Have got 1 minute as a spare to revise? No. You'll be struggling to finish your answers. That's the reason behind it. Instead, then we used to have long answers, 60 marker. We have to write, and a lot of choices used to be there. That's why you used to cover 60% of the syllabus, 40%, something like well outside the off-stum, well left. Because 1 and 5 is compulsory, even in that also we used to have choice. Out of 4, attempt 3. And rest 6 questions used to be there. Out of 6, we have to write 3 answers. That used to be the pattern. Because when that is the pattern, you can literally mug, select your areas of preparation, go to the exam, write with a calm mind, recollecting, okay, in that book, what was that line? May not be exactly the same way as in the university, because university is an entirely different thing. Because I remember when I was appearing and not much has changed even today. A single paper, the first year, the entire exam will go for a month. 6 papers for a month with a gap of 5 days or something like that for every paper. And we already know what is the answer, the questions. 10 topics we will choose, write down the answers in advance, mug every line including comma and full stop. And while writing, we could exactly see our answer script. Okay, now the 4th page, 3rd line I am writing. That used to be the mark of a good student in our university exam. And also, let's say you have prepared a topic on Weber. Irrespective of whatever question has been asked, moment you see in any part of the question Weber, answer starts. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, that used to be the pattern of the question in our UPSC as well. Maybe with slight variance. But it was drastically changed only to address this concern of these committees. That we want people who have brain over their shoulder. That is why now, instead of something like 9 answers that you have to write, today in each paper you have to write around 22 answers. Instead of 60 marker, maybe the biggest question that you have to write is something around 25 or 30 marker, and that too also rare. Most of the questions are 10 markers, 15 markers, in that range only. Why? Because you don't have time to write. You don't have time much to think or ponder. It's start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. In that, only thing that will come out is what is crystallized in you. and your brain goes through a very, very intensive exercise. Very intensive exercise. That way, they dig out something that is there in you as originality. That is why it is important. Why we are saying application is important. Why? Because you communicate to the examiner that I am suitable for this job. UPSC is conducting public administration not to give you a certificate that you are a worthy scholar in public administration. Or they are not going to certify you in general studies or essay. You are a worthy scholar in writing essay. Entire thing is only a means, is a medium. UPSC using this as a medium to certify that you have right aptitude, skill and attitude to deal with the job that you are going to be assigned. That is why it's important to communicate to the examiner that I carry those things. So understanding becomes more important. It takes precedence over what amount of facts you have assembled in your mind. So this thing, I would say, as part of I have gone far away from the question that the fellow has asked. As part of the that assignment and all this thing, sir has prepared a workbook very nicely. He revises that every time. In that, not only the questions and all these things are there, but at the same time, he assembles from multiple sources the current related topics that is going to be helpful for our optional paper. So as part of the assignment, if you say homework, if typically I use the term homework. Homework is go back home, revise every day without failing, understand it very nicely, raise your doubts, come back and clarify, and at the same time, whatever tests are conducted, appear for that, write it nicely, and when this workbook is shared, go back and write all those questions and all these things. And any help required, we are there. But as far as the typical stereotypical homework is concerned, today's class is over, write down the homework. No, it may not be at times. Very often we might be giving questions and all these things even in the class, but not as a regular routine thing that class is over, write down these 2 questions, work out back at home and come back. That will not be there. But you will be getting engaged back at home amply. Don't worry. Okay. Any question? Please ask. Yes, ma'am. Yes, you are audible. Okay. I wanted to share all this tomorrow, but since you have asked this, let us address today. C is asking what should be the reference book or study material for the preparation. As far as the book is concerned, textbook is concerned, I would say to begin with, assemble. So sorry. To begin with, I would say assemble very little number of books to begin with, in the beginning. Not that later on you have to assemble a large number of books. Few books I would say for, you can note down also if you want, since he has asked. Let's address. In the website also we have shared the list, and you can go to the website also, take down that list, but but see, in paper 1, as far as paper 1 is concerned, class note, read it very nicely. Okay? I would say your base reference should be your class note. Write it very nicely. We will try to make it as exhaustive as possible, because in paper 1 it is possible to make it exhaustive. My job is comparatively going to be easier as compared to Asutosh sir's job, because the areas he is going to teach is wide open. So that's why, see, he's being young and energetic. I told him, you share the bigger burden, I will share the smaller one. So for the theoretical portions, I would say the you take a book by R.K. Sapru. I would prefer this one, R.K. Sapru, Administrative Theory. R.K. Sapru. This will be, I would prefer this, but anyone who is already having Prasad and Prasad need not purchase this. Okay? But if you have not got Prasad and Prasad yet, I would say instead of that, go for this book. Aribam. See, Radha Binod Aribam, it is my class note of 2010. Okay? He is my student of that 2010 batch. Very nice fellow, Manipur cadre IAS. In his book, I have written the foreword. You can go through that book because the entire paper 1, paper 2 is my class note of 2010. Okay? You can go through that. It's you'll get a base. No, because he has. I was amused because see, I have been not. I had never been in habit of dictating. I teach and I go slightly slow so that you have ample time to understand and write. Amazing job Aribam has done, because after he cleared, he came to me, sir, this is the notes that I have prepared and all this thing, I want to publish it. So I connected with one of my students' father. That student is also Bihar cadre IPS, Ashish Bharti, and the publisher was Kumar Sahab, the Kumar bookstore. Kumar bookstore, he published it. So if you want to go through that, paper 1, paper 2, that's the 2010, my class note of 2010. So you can go through that. It is very simply, very exhaustively he has written down. I was amused he could write that so fast, that too on a, I told him, how did you write it? I'm used to it. It's great. Anyway, you can go through Aribam, okay? But I'm talking about this particular book. It's a nice book, R.K. Sapru, Administrative Theory. Okay? Second book, choose between these 3 books. Any one you take. Okay? Any one. I'm serious about this. Please don't take all the 3. You will not get any advantage by doing so. Repeatedly I will emphasize, because at this stage when you are anxious, the tendency is to access everything. Don't have that. Out of all sincerity I am saying, because your success is our success. Because the sweetest part of the teacher's life is its student's success. Because that nothing gives more pleasure than that. And also a slight note of appreciation when comes back and says, thank you sir, that's sweeter. Out of these 3 sources, choose only one. Public Administration by this S. Paulinaidu. S. Paulinaidu. That's a Galgotia publication. Or, I'm saying or. Vidya Bhushan, Public Administration by Vidya Bhushan. They are in the same league because they give at least basic ideas of various topics in your syllabus. Public Administration by Vidya Bhushan, that is this Kitab Mahal publication. Kitab Mahal publication. Okay? Or you can also, this is going to be a very bulkier one, but that's why I'm saying you have to intelligently choose another one, Public Administration by Fadia and Fadia. Because these books are either any one of these books, any one. These books give you a general or basic idea on every topic in your syllabus. Okay? Another book, The New Horizon of Public Administration by Mohit Bhattacharya. New Horizon of Public Administration by Mohit Bhattacharya. I cannot refer to the publication because it keeps shifting. अभी कितना सेज है ना कौन सा? हाँ और जवाहर वाले, हाँ जवाहर वाले नहीं, जवाहर वाले से चेंज हुआ था फिर आ गया गोयल, हाँ चेंज हुआ था वो, he kept shifting that publication. So anyway, that's a we can say that's a landmark book for public administration, New Horizons of Public Administration by Mohit Bhattacharya. ठीक है? For the time being, you have with yourself this 3 book. ठीक है? 3 book. This 3 book you have for yourself with you. Don't go for more books right away. No way. And if you want to access IGNOU material, because many students might actually would like to go for IGNOU material. If you are going to access IGNOU material, then don't access its graduation level material. In graduation level material, if you are accessing, then access only the public policy portion. Only public policy portion if you are accessing. Or else you go for its material in the post graduation, EPA. That's the code, or post graduation. Sorry, MPA. The graduation is EPA. MPA. That's MPA. And again, not the entire material. If you are actually hard pressed in selecting the chapters, you can come to me or sir and get it ticked which chapters you can read or which all. Something like that. We can do that job for you people, which all chapters needs to be covered or not. And don't go through more material. This is enough. This is also not going to be studied entirely. Class notes are going to be very exhaustive. We'll try to make it as exhaustive. Few additions and subtractions you have to do. Otherwise, for paper 1, not much you'll be requiring. Paper 2, yes, it is going to be a top tax for sir, because I say paper 2 is going to be easy as well as very difficult. Let me share another thing why I'm saying it is easy as well as difficult. Because when people come out of the exam hall after writing their paper 1 and paper 2, they come out with a gloomy face after paper 1, with a happy face after paper 2. When the marks are available, they have a gloomy face by looking into the marks of the paper 2 and a happy face when they look at the paper 1 marks. The reason being, see, paper 1, it is, I would say, 75% or 85% closed. Because things are very systematically established. Few new things you need to learn. Application limited. So that way, it makes easier for a student, but since it is a theoretical portion, slightly demanding in terms of let's say presentation and all this thing. So that's why in paper 1 you come out with a slightly gloomy face. I don't know. I've written few. They would say I've done it. But in paper 2, since you have to write on Prime Minister, President, District Administration, corruption, police, public sector units, or corporate governance, or TRI, or people's participation, none of this topic appear to be that you do not know. You think everything I know, I wrote it fully. I wrote Panchayat Raj Institution, this question very nicely, urban municipality very nicely. Everything I know, I wrote it nicely. So out of 250, maybe UPSC might give 270. This. But when the marks comes, see, it is miserable in paper 2. Because in paper 2, as he rightly points out, there is no defining factor for you to gain extra mark. Mostly, you write what others write. So each one of you write the same answer, as a result of which the examiner is not at liberty to give you something extra. There is important because you need to access, because in paper 2, it is easy because you know everything about the topic, not about the topic, everything that is mentioned in the syllabus. But you know only very basic of each of the topic in the syllabus. To know more about each of the topic, you need to, because there, unlike in paper 1, no single textbook is there which will cover all the details. Everything, every topic, you talk about, let's say, the administrative tribunals in India, a lot of facts are there. A lot of analysis is there. You talk about corruption, a lot of cases, a lot of things are there. You talk about any topic in paper 2, it's wide open. That is why the job is difficult. So in paper 2, few basic books you will have. Class notes, it needs to be the base. Your book, maybe Indian Administration by R.K. Arora, you do get for yourself, this one. And Arora and Goel. Arora and Goel, R.K. Arora and Goel. This book I treasure for myself till today, because when it was there, when I taught my university, this was given me as my prize, because you are given this was the book I was given as a prize, so I treasure it till now. But this is a good book. Maybe not much of the syllabus is covered in that, but basic areas are there. You get hold of this book. Your base should be your class notes, but on this you have to work a bit more. Whatever newspaper you are going to study, magazines you are going to study, they are going to immensely help you on this. Additional resources, it is going to vary. Maybe in the due course relating to topic and all this. Handouts. We will be providing additional handouts on this paper too. Don't purchase, don't go to the shopkeeper and declare to the shopkeeper, I have taken the optional. Then half of the books will be shared with you. Ki bhai, this is for you. Don't. Okay? Only take this few books. Don't take more than these books. More you study, better you become. More books you study, more literature you study, believe me, you are going to be in trouble. Okay? You should study more of less. This is a very old adage in civil service, and it's a very meaningful adage. Sources to be referred, I shared for the time being. How to manage GS along with the optional. I'm sorry to restrict my answer on this. In the due course, we'll be sharing this separately, because maybe separately. Don't worry. Abhishek will address this, but separately we'll address this. I'll come to you. What is the ideal time for writing answers in public administration? I will say for the first month, I will advise all of you not to read anything in advance. First thing. Note this, and note this very seriously. For the first month of your lecture, do not read anything in advance, because the time tested advice is what? Read something and go to the class. Okay? Don't read anything before you come to the class, because we will be starting with the theoretical portions of your paper. In theoretical portion, if you read on your own, you might acquire some distorted knowledge, and through that distorted lens, you'll try to observe what we are going to teach. That makes things difficult. Don't read anything in advance while coming to the class in the first month. Once you hear in the class, go back and revise it. Repeatedly you can revise it. Second thing, don't try attempting answers in the first month. Since we will be starting with theoretical portion, and these theories are interlinked. When the questions are asked, maybe when let's say we taught you people on X, the questions that are there on X, you will not be in a position to answer even if you have understood X. Understanding X fully depends on understanding Y, Z, A, B, C. So that is why in the first month of this lecture, don't read anything in advance. Don't try to write anything in terms of questions. Write your own. Let's say you're attempting to write your summarizing few things, or let's say making your notes. That's a separate thing. Don't attempt to write questions. After that, you will be having your tests as well, and then maybe sir will be sharing the workbook and all these things. You can start attempting the questions, start discussing and all these things. Okay? In the first month, no reading in advance and no questions to be attempted. GS paper, I'm so sorry, we are constrained to answer right away. To the possible, we can answer maybe later, not now, so sorry, Rohit. Correlations. Sir will answer this. Correlation in the subject, yes. Again, see, a brief note on this correlation, maybe what our friend is referring as correlation in public administration. What I could understand, maybe he's referring to how to integrate public administration paper 1 with paper 2 and paper 2 with paper 1. So while you are writing, let's say, a theory in public administration, maybe let's say Simon, a famous theorist is there. While you're writing Simon, maybe you can actually pick up something from Indian administration and write it. Maybe that is what he's referring to as correlation. And while you are writing, let's say, a chapter, a topic, or answering a question on federalism, maybe how you can pick up a theorist or a theory to justify that particular thing. That is what is referring, I believe, as correlation. First of all, see, correlation is going to be, I would say, helpful. Many students, they have not correlated yet have got fabulous marks because of their clarity of presentation and all this thing. Many students did go for correlation and they have also got very fabulous marks. I would say, to the extent possible, if you can correlate, correlate. But in order to correlate, you first of all need to understand. It will depend on your level of understanding. But see, when you say, see, you are something similar to that friend, it's only because you have understood that friend and some of the character of that friend, you correlated with the other one. So, in order to correlate, you need to actually understand first. The better understanding you have, you will be in a better position to correlate. So, if you are able to understand, let's say, the theories, you will be able to understand, okay, what type of, let's say, local governance we are having, and in this local governance, what are the shortfalls? Maybe, see, there is a topic called neo-localism. Neo-localism. Local, you can understand? Something at the grassroots level or something like that, closer to the people and all this. There's a theoretical topic, neo-localism. And we have our grassroots administration in the form of Panchayati Raj institutions or urban municipality, municipal corporation. So here, maybe while writing, you will be able to, if you have understood neo-localism nicely and you have understood the structural, processual and functional dimension of the local governments, whether rural or urban, nicely, you will be able to correlate to what extent there is a neo-local system in India or not. So it all depends. So like, let's say, there are many theorists who will be talking about a very unitary, centralized system or a federal system. In India, if you understand the nature of federalism well, maybe you can pick up something from paper 1 and while writing your answer, you could correlate. Few things we will help, few things we will share, but at the same time, correlation, if you'll be able to correlate and nicely write, you'll be able to take advantage of what sir has prepared, the current affairs or current related topics, that is going to be helpful, because see, lot of cases are there. You'll find in your Yojana, Kurukshetra, a number of other sources. You'll find number of cases, examples, events from Indian administration, from, let's say, civil society organizations, from, let's say, the private sector and its interaction with the government organizations. But you will be able to amply, nicely take advantage of even those sources only when you will be able to understand these things nicely. So correlation is going to be helpful. But for correlation, you need nice understanding. In this will definitely help, but again, as I told, we can help you to stand, we can help you to style your running, but actual running you have to do. Okay, you wanted to ask question from there. While reading newspaper, which all articles? Again, I would repeat my answer. See, in the beginning, if you have to read a newspaper, what my experience has been, if I'm asked to underline important words or lines, I underline everything in the beginning. Just let me answer in a slightly different way. If I have to underline the important words and lines, when I start reading the newspaper, for me every word and every line starts appearing as important. Then in the second time when I start reading the same and find everything underlined, I find, no, it's not to be underlined. So then I use a separate color one to underline. So then the number of highlighted portion goes down. In the first time, the highlighted portion is not actually highlighted. That portion which is not underlined is getting highlighted, but that is rare. Next time that goes down, next to next time it goes down. Maybe when our understanding is really good, in the entire article you might be identifying 2 words or something like that. So which part of the article is important, which article is important, that will depend on, first of all, your understanding. You see your syllabus, you know these are the part of the syllabus, read those topics, you understand those topics, then when you are reading, you'll be able to mark it. But in this context, he is going to be very, very helpful, because I will give it to him. Maybe he'll be in a much better position, because he does a very intensive exercise on this. So maybe he's a better person to help you on this.
So what is the question? I'm not clear. No. Is it for GS or PubAd? You're asking for PubAd. So if I say don't read newspaper, it will be okay. Will you be happy with that? Or you want complication in your life? Don't read. Not needed. Who says that PubAd? Tell me, get 10 years question paper and tell me, where do you see current affairs in PubAd? Right? You're reading current affairs for general studies. Right? That is what GS for PubAd. Why do you want to distinguish between these two? Right? If you're talking about women empowerment, there's a topic, development administration, we talk about women empowerment. Right? And you talk about Mahila Sashaktikarana Yojana. How do you distinguish this scheme for PubAd and scheme for GS? How do you distinguish it? You cannot. Right? First of all, don't take this commercial myth as reality. Right? We all have been from the same process. I also gave 3 interviews, got good marks. He was my mentor then, right? Even today. So, in fact, record-breaking marks we got. And I'm an engineer, right? Half lawyer. Okay? Did 1 year LLB from DU, right? Left it. So, you don't have to think that way, right? It is more of a commercial gimmick that we say current affairs aata hai. Right? Current affairs to pure exam mein aata hai. It comes in prelims, it comes in mains, it is asked in interview. So if you're reading a topic, don't try to distinguish between PubAd and GS. Right? Public administration, if you understand the syllabus properly, at least you can define the scope of that GS knowledge. How much you need to incorporate. So if you know about Janani Suraksha Karyakram, fine. Then maybe you need 10 points for GS, but you need only 4 points for PubAd. That is the distinction. Right? So first, don't get obsessed with that. We are bringing a magazine, Bridge, the current affairs magazine. Right? In that, we'll be putting up over the time what current affairs needed for public administration. Right? The second aspect of current affairs, like you said, is the governance part. Your GS paper 2. Right? And which is 2-3 units of PubAd paper 2. Administrative reforms since independence. Current perspectives in public administration. And that is also they have defined. They want to know about e-governance. They want to know about women and gender development. They want to know about police reforms. They want to know about disaster management. That's it. So we have to be very choosy when we are reading current affairs. Right? You read, I know everybody might be reading PT 365. सबने पढ़ा कई साल तक. अभी इस बार क्या हुआ prelims में? Right? So I'm just trying to tell you that there is nothing like a SOP, standard operating procedure. You do this only, then you will become. Right? There are people who have studied only Mohit Bhattacharya and they have topped. Right? Scoring 333 marks in PubAd. Just reading one book. Fine. There are people who have amassed all the books of PubAd. Right? Still they were scoring 2-digit marks in paper 1. I know them. 333, yeah. So the logic was, 333 divided by 3. 3 people got together 333, right? So there are, students, see, it depends upon, like, I would not discourage anyone, but see, it depends also upon your individual ability. Individual ability does not mean that somebody is good or bad, no. It is more about how you are putting your effort, how you are channelizing your effort. For example, if you spend 3 hours reading newspaper, when will you read your subject? Well, you cannot create 28 hours out of 24 hours, and you cannot say, obviously in the beginning you will make 20 hours timetable, I know that. Right? Per day 20 hours. So you'll study 2-3 days. Right? After that you will sleep for 3-4 days. And then you will reduce the time frame, 16 hours. Yeah, logical is 16 hours. And 9 o'clock I'll get up, 9:05 I'll brush, 9:10 I will do this, 9:15 I'll go. You'll do all this for 1 month, 2 months. Then after that it will be 20 hours a week. And then you'll say this is practical, yes. Fine. Then you look for a topper's video जिसने बोला कि नहीं 2-3 घंटा बहुत होता है पढ़ना. Right? So this is known as self-fulfilling prophecy. This is an idea in management theory. Right? आप वही करना चाहते हो जो आप चाहते हो. But you try to get confirmation from someone else. Right? So don't go after that. We'll be doing so many things in the class that will be enough for PubAd. Obviously, I'm not talking about it will be enough for GS. Right? Somebody has asked overlapping of GS paper 2. Yes, there is a lot of overlapping. But the style of answer writing in GS paper 2 is little different from public administration. Right? GS paper needs more facts. Public administration needs both theory, facts and analysis. In GS you don't do analysis much. It's a very small part. Right? But in optional you have to do analysis because you are trying to trace the context of a question. In GS you are not tracing the context. किसने पूछा भाई caste system क्या? What is social stratification? What is the basis of social stratification in India? Do you think it is the reason for communalism in India? Right? Now, the examiner assumes that you know social stratification. But the same question comes in public administration paper 2. That the caste-based social stratification in India has been one of the prime reason for the domination of patriarchal domination of women. Comment in the light of recent schemes initiated by government of India. The question same hai. Orientation change ho jayega, right? So anybody who is speculating or apprehensive about what we are going to do, right? I would just say the proof of pudding is in the eating. Class करो, melody खाओ, खुद जान जाओगे. तो थोड़ा सा मौका हमें भी दो पढ़ाने का, राइट? एक ही दिन में सब कुछ पूछ लोगे ऐसा तो पॉसिबल नहीं है ना. फीस दिया है तो टाइम लो, ऐसा क्या हो, राइट? सो आई थिंक वी हैव आंसर्ड. एंड पीडीएफ, obviously magazine will get in PDF, workbook in PDF because it is unnecessary eco pressure, right? Go green, है ना? Obviously study material आपको courier किया जाएगा, आपको physically मिलेगा जिसको चाहिए, right? But you will get handouts. For online students it is obviously PDF. For you it will be physically given, right? Online वाले को physically चाहिए तो आके ले ले, we don't stop it, right? But that handout would be more important to you than probably the printed material, because that will be more bulky, this will be more crisp. So here you can just use it and write your answer, right? We have 6 tests in the entire schedule, 3 in paper 1, 3 paper 2, and not per day but still weekly we give 4 to 5 questions on a particular topic, either direct of UPSC we discuss while teaching you or inspired by UPSC. Workbook has more than 300 to 400 questions of UPSC plus inspired by UPSC with answers. तो आप उसको रिवाइज करेंगे एंड में, उतना बहुत होगा, ठीक है? तो 500 चाहिए तो वो नहीं दिला सकते, 300 हम दिला सकते हैं, right? So please don't get obsessed with plenty. Fine. Thank you so much. We have answered most of the.
हाँ. Any other question? Any one of you? Don't hesitate. You can ask. BBA, Bachelor in Business Administration. कहाँ से? Okay. How it is going to help?
Give you the suggestion. Do BBA.
Okay. And that's a good course, Bachelor in Business Administration. See, he's asking how it is going to help him in business administration across the board. You study certain theories, Taylor, Fayol, Gulick, all these are hierarchy. So many, at least many terms are going to be familiar. How it is going to help or not, I can't say. That depends on how sincerely you have done your BBA. Because if you have studied those topics nicely, certainly it is going to help. In paper 1,
BBA generally is not done sincere.
No. He seems to be a sincere student, not merely a serious student. Okay, it will help in paper 1. Paper 1, especially your administrative thinkers, administrative behavior to some extent, certain areas, and introduction in certain areas. Okay? These areas, because since it is also administration, Bachelor in Business Administration, we are studying public administration. So when you talk about administration, administration is nothing but it is a systematized effort undertaken in the direction of achieving a particular goal or a set of goal. So when this systematized effort is undertaken on the part of the government in interaction with maybe multiple institutions, we refer it as public administration. When the same is done within the confine of a private profit institution or even a private non-profit institution, we refer it as private administration. Specifically, when it is a profit institution, it's a business administration. So commonality lies, it is all about a systematized effort. So being a systematized effort, the theoretical base is going to be the same. And also let me refer, in public administration, the thinkers and the theories that you are going to study, initial thinkers and theories, all of them, they're not of public administration. They're not of government administration. They're basically philosophers, those who intended to analyze and explain. Their primary focus has been on private administration, though they felt the same can also be applicable to explain the government administration. They were not even academicians. They were mostly practitioners. They were, like you, the business administrators. So they got interested in developing certain theory when they found the organizations are not working well. So they tried to find out why it is not working well. So they found out a solution that could be acceptable. So that is what we say as theory. What is a theory? Theory is a set of knowledge that is consistent and predictable. That's what we refer to as theory. So the theoretical premise of business administration and public administration overlap a lot. So to that extent is going to be helpful. Okay. Any more question for the today? Because mostly I'm an engineer and we shared as PDF online, like the medium used we side. I'm so sorry, I'm not able to understand this question. Achha, as far as your study material is concerned, as sir told, all of you will be getting the hard copy, the physical material you will be getting here. And those who are enrolled for the online course, they will be sent the PDF. They will courier? If they require.
Physical material will be sent to them. So the class material will be physically sent.
And the class material, that's what I'm saying. The class material to the online students will be physically, the physical material will be couriered, and they will also get the PDF. And all of you will be getting the physical material here itself, along with the additional handouts and all this that will be given. Relating to how we are going to prepare and all this thing, that I will leave it for tomorrow. The orientation session, in that we'll be discussing all those things, maybe in elaboration. But one thing, let me clarify on this. You rely heavily on your class notes and the additional material that will be given. The study material, you can go through that, but let me clarify another thing. Study material is a mixture of two things. One, your need, and also the greed. The need part is, many a time you would require certain substantial resource to rely on each topic. That's a need part. So that's why it is prepared, and it is not individually me or sir originally written. We have collected it from multiple source, and there's an academic, since it's for educational purpose, so we don't have that limitation. So from multiple source it has been acquired and assembled. Okay. The handout, additional handout that we'll be arranging, that more of originality will be on that. So the need part is that you would like to rely on certain things in each topic in the physical form. So that's why the material is prepared. The greed part is that, say, many students, they are in the habit of this thing, that I would say a commercial part. I will not be ashamed of this in stating, because many students, they are in the habit of kya mila? What did I get anything substantial as a material or not? What the bulk of the material? What is the size of the material? So it has also been catered to that, to make it slightly bulkier, so that it captures a lot of facts and all these things. So I would say that rely more on your class notes, additional handouts that will be given, material. You yourself will be able to know which part you have to read and which part you have to simply leave. Okay? Be intelligent on that part, because a lot of things has been assembled in that. As I told, a need part was there, and also the greed part, because the student I need more material. So that part also has been addressed in that. Okay? So any more questions for the day? Yes. Class schedule? See, we'll be having all these details. I will be sharing again tomorrow. That's why I'm saying tomorrow you will be having an orientation. Today was an introduction. You'll be having 6 days a class to begin with. Initial month or so to begin with. After that you will be having 7 days. Okay? Then you'll be a bit burdened. You have to manage that. But initially you will be having 6 days. 1 day you'll be having off. And we'll start with the theory, because that will form the basis, so that rest of the topic me or sir can take without thinking about whether you have those basic concepts or not. So that's why we'll start with theory. Maybe people refer thinker is the most difficult portion of this subject. We'll start with the most difficult portion, and all my effort would be to make that as easy as possible, as interesting as possible. So we'll start with the theoretical portion. After that, once we are through with the administrative thinkers and the administrative behavior and introduction, once we are through, or at least administrative thinker, administrative behavior, and even some initial portions of administrative thinker, we will start suppling between different chapters. Paper 1 and paper 2 simultaneously we will be taking. In the same week, you will be having paper 1 as well as paper 2. But initially, few theoretical topics will cover. Subsequent to that, you might have 4 days theory class and 3 days Indian administration, or 3 days from paper 1 and 4 days from paper 2. In this way, it will go on. Okay. So I believe for today we are done. Okay, another thing, tomorrow we'll be taking care of the logistical limitation we have today. A humid environment and slightly hot environment, I hope we'll be taking care of tomorrow. And also the mic problem, we'll be fixing it. Okay? All of you, please follow that. Wherever the cross is there, don't sit in that seat. Okay? All of you, please do that, because that is beyond us. As I referred, these are government instructions we should follow. Chalo. Thank you. We will meet tomorrow.